Yeah, you head coach Chris Wilkerson, the team coming off a loss against their second FBS foe of the year, Northwestern. They're going to be back in action this week. They get the Mid American Classic, Illinois State, who is 15th and 17th in the FCS poll. So, Coach, just some general thoughts about your team and the weekend game against Northwestern, and we'll go to some questions.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. Real proud of the guys and the way that they responded in our preparation for last weekend's game. We took some steps forward and improved as a football team. That was one of our goals of the week. Limited ourselves to having only two penalties, blocked a field goal. Certainly had a chance to take a lead late in the second quarter, to try to go up 10-7. Unfortunately, we had a little leakage and had a field goal blocked of our own, and then just didn't finish in a 2-minute situation there at the end of the half. But, for the first 30 minutes, we looked like we belonged. And I was really proud of our effort. And unfortunately, we ran out of gas and just couldn't finish and sustain. And tip of the hat to Northwestern. They're a very well coached football team and very talented. So, hey, we've got one more non-league contest this weekend, certainly against a very talented, well coached, nationally ranked rival school. And certainly another crossover for us against the Missouri Valley Conference and a chance for us to represent the OVC Big South against a very, very well-coached and talented football conference. So really excited about this week and our continued preparation.
Getting more on this week's game in just a second, but a couple questions from Dan first. How's the health of your team at this point, considering you've played two Big Ten opponents in the first 3 weeks?
Yeah, all things being equal, we're in pretty good shape. We've got some guys that are bumped and bruised, and you'd have that after 3 games, no matter who you play at this point in time during the year. But our strength conditioning staff, led by Coach Hillman, and our athletic training staff have done a phenomenal job, trying to prepare our student athletes for this part of our schedule and this marathon, if you will, this 12-game season with 2 FBS opponents. And they've done a really nice job. So, I think the offseason work really helped prepare us. And to this point in time, again, nothing catastrophic, but we've got some guys bumped and bruised, and we'll be day to day. And we'll see what kind of group we can put together this Saturday night.
So his follow-up doesn't really pertain necessarily because what you just said, but he said, Dan asked, there's an inordinate amount of major early season injuries across college football. Would you attribute that to anything in particular, or is it just the nature of the game?
Yeah, I still think it's probably a little bit the nature of the game. I do think the student athletes now have played a lot more by the time that we get them. They play 2 or 3 sports year round, and they're doing travel things. And I think their bodies are maybe just a little more worn down or beat down before they get to the intercollegiate level. And so really it's just, again, you got to try to modify things and evolve in terms of the way that we practice and what we do from a strength and conditioning standpoint and a prehab standpoint in our athletic training staff and the services that we provide for the student athletes. So, hey, we're just trying to do what we can to make sure that our guys are ready to play every week. They've really done a good job with their own efforts in those areas. And we continue just to try to, hey, maintain our health. And if not, the next person has to step up. And that's something that continues to happen for us every single week, every single practice.
Let's focus on this weekend's game. It's the 112th all-time Mid-America Classic, and we like to talk about our rivalries, and this is obviously a great one that means a lot to both teams. So just in general, like what does it mean to play a rival, and you have that trophy that you get to take home and want to keep in Charleston?
Yeah, it's big time. Certainly the Mid-American Classic, we've been playing Illinois State University since 1901, and it's about 90 minutes between the two schools. There's not a lot of love for each other, and there are some interesting ties. Their head football coach, Brock Spack, has done a phenomenal job. The sustainability and the success that they've been able to have under his leadership is extremely impressive. But Coach Spack was the linebackers coach here at Eastern Illinois way back when I was being recruited as a student athlete. And then he was the linebackers coach my freshman year before leaving to go to Purdue and then Wyoming and back to Purdue and then obviously to Normal at Illinois State as the head football coach. So we've known each other a long time. Again, I know his football teams are very well coached. They have a firm identity. Their offensive and defensive coordinators return along with the head coach, and they've got an extremely talented roster. So there's bragging rights in the state. There's certainly personal relationships with the schools and some of those things. There's recruiting battles within the state of Illinois, and then certainly, bragging rights for your conference. And I know they want to represent the MVC, and we want to represent the Big South OVC the best that we can. So it's an extremely important game for us, just because it happens to be the next one. But we'd love to keep that Mid-American Classic trophy here in O'Brien Stadium.
And you referenced them and what they've done. They're ranked, and they've been good. They were good. They've been good for a while. What is it about this year's Redbirds team, though, maybe you've seen that you can expect what you've seen on film from them?
Yeah, they're senior laden. They've got a heavy senior roster, 14 senior starters on offense and defense, a lot of really, really experienced football players, and they did supplement with some impactful transfer guys. They may be banged up a little bit right now in some areas, but again, we can't control that. And I'm sure that the guys that they have out there are going to be ready to go at 6 o'clock. And I know that we will. We're really excited about the opportunity to compete in a challenging environment on the road against a nationally ranked foe. Hey, that's just the next opportunity for us. While we're done with the FBS part of our schedule, we've still got obviously this last non-league game, and then our 8 most critical OVC Big South games.
Does it help you going on the road to a tough environment, as you said, that you've played 2 FBS road games? If you hadn't played a road game, does it help get the new people on your roster acclimated to playing in an atmosphere like that?
Yeah, I think so. And again, they'll have a great crowd than normal. They usually do. I think they sold out Family Weekend playing the Leathernecks last weekend, and it's usually a great atmosphere, and I would expect there to be a great crowd. But yeah, we've been really fortunate. These other FBS environments have been awesome. Even our first home game here at O'Brien was an awesome environment. Our guys have been really lucky this year to compete in some fantastic environments and play against some quality opponents and play a little bit of quality football ourselves. Just not enough.
Last question I got submitted to me was, which position group on your team has been the most satisfying so far for you and your staff watching?
Yeah, I think our corners. There were some big questions about that position. Having graduated, Russ Dandy, who's still playing professionally in Canada, was just recently re-signed by one of the teams up north. And Tyrus Harvey, who left and is finishing his career at a different school. But the two guys that certainly are moving. Jay Burt has been phenomenal, and he continues to improve every single day. There's still a lot of growth there for Jay because it is so new to him. But he continues just to make splash plays. The 2 interceptions in our first home game last week. He had some massive tackles in open space against some phenomenal athletes against Northwestern. You don't usually see that out of corners. And then Moses Alexander continues to just be a pleasure to watch him continue to gain some confidence and grow. He's got great length. He's got great closing speed, and he's got great natural instincts. So watching those two guys initially have been, a pleasant surprise. I know there's still a lot of room for growth, as there is with our entire football team, but they've been fun to watch.
Coach, thanks for your time this morning. Good luck in that Mid America Classic, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks a million. Go Panthers.